Winter forecaster Stephen Boyle. Well, uh, everything verified out into the Central Plains, where southern Nebraska got foot-plus amounts, localized areas of over 18 inches. Today, we got the heavy rains. We got some pretty hefty winds. There was some wind reports, wind damage. So all of that verified in my last video. What we're going to be talking about today, winter storm watch in southeastern Massachusetts. Question is, how far northwest does this snow get? There are two camps. You've got the American models and you got the foreign models. Foreign models, we've got Canadian, Euro, RGEM, which is a short-range Canadian, and the Euclimat. In the meantime, the American models, the GFS and the NAM, and some of the short-range models, American models, are indicating not much of anything for a good chunk of southern New England. Only portions getting a good amount of snow. So there's a big battle going on right now. Here's a GFS. Here's the situation. Here's your storm. Okay, this is a very weak storm. This is not going to be strong. It's not going to be powerful. Okay, and this is something I'm trying to enforce here. Something that I don't know why, but the GFS just doesn't seem to understand that this is a weak system. Here's your northern stream. Notice there's a huge gap here. So basically the southern stream is working by itself. There's only a little bit of energy streaming into the system that's from the northern stream, but it's a little too late. Here's the Euro. Notice, much different scenario. You've got here's your northern stream energy, here's your southern stream. Notice they're working together. Notice you've got a negatively tilted trough. This storm can't be pushed to the east. Rather, it has to move to the north and west because you've got this negatively tilted trough. Okay. So let's zoom in a little bit. So here's your northern stream energy. Here's your southern stream. Notice where there is a phase, it's very, very, very weak. Okay, it's very, very well. It's almost positive. Okay, to where here's the Euro. The phase is really defined. You've got a negative tilt to it, and moves up. Okay, so you get different surface maps. Here is your edge of the precipitation. So you have it going all the way out into the Worcester area. Okay, and you get some good snows, although there's going to be mixing issues and rain issues out on the Cape because the boundary layer is going to be a little warm to start. So it's going to take a little bit for snows to accumulate out on the Cape and even portions of southeastern Mass. Here's the GFS. The GFS shows maybe up to 6 inches. So would a winter storm watch really be needed if that was correct? Not really. Not really. Boston, perhaps up to a few inches, and points north and west, maybe a coating to an inch. But again, this is further north and west than what the previous run of the GFS had. The previous run, it had it had the light green all the way down here. So it did shift north and west, which is possibly an indication of what's to come over the next 12 hours or so. Here's the Euro, much different. Something I also want to indicate here, something that is, maybe I'm wrong, maybe you know, I'm looking at something a little weirdly, but notice the intensity of the low. 1008 millibars. Okay. Now, I want you to look at this huge core of precipitation. From my experience, you don't usually get a huge core of precipitation like this with a 1008 millibar low. You maybe get that with perhaps a 990 millibar low, but not a 1008 millibar low. I want you to notice something. Well, let's look at the euro though. Here is your edge of precipitation. Notice you're getting some moderate snows into the western and central parts of Massachusetts, Boston, New York City. You're getting some good snows. Again, boundary layer is a problem out in southeastern Mass. So again, it may be snowing, but it may not be able to accumulate because it's almost a little too wet. Okay, it's a little too wet, and because the ground is a little too warm at that point, it'll melt on contact. Okay, but and eventually it will accumulate. Okay, let me tell you, it's gonna accumulate fast. It's gonna be thumping away really hard. Now this is the euro, and this is the GFS. Euro and GFS. The GFS has a 1008 millibar low. The euro has a 1008 millibar low. The euro has this somewhat light, compared to the GFS, a somewhat light precipitation field, to where the GFS is a little bit more of a core. It's not as broad because, remember, this is somewhat of a broad storm. This is a weak storm. This is not strong. So either the GFS is right with having this, and the euro is wrong with having this very weak, somewhat weak and more expanded precipitation due to its weakness, or the euro is right and the GFS is wrong with this. Something interesting to note, the GFS was pretty hefty with the rains today in southern New England. It was more along the lines of what the euro was showing. The euro nailed it pretty much. It had heavy rains down in the New York City area, and that's where the core of the heavy rains were located. Something interesting. GFS tends to be a little bit robust and tends to do this. This is what we call convective feedback. It just creates this huge field of precipitation, and it's like all of this precipitation on top of each other because it's just unsure. That's why I don't like the American models, because it does this all the time with whether it's a weak system, a strong system. With stronger systems, it's even worse. You'll see like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, up to 8 inches of precipitation over the ocean or something. This is what you would expect with a weak system, this type of precipitation. Okay, and again, there's other models that are supporting the euro. Now, does it mean that the euro is always right and this is going to be right on? Maybe, maybe not. Okay, maybe not. Here's what I'm expecting at minimum. And again, my forecast is based upon what the models are showing and forecast guidance is showing right now. Right now. Okay. Here's my minimum snowfall totals. 4 to 6 in the Boston area, 4 to 6 southeastern Mass, 4 to 6 in Providence and north central Rhode Island, 4 to 6 in southeastern Connecticut. This goes in line with what this goes in line with the winter storm watch. It goes in line with the pattern, basically. You'd have less than an inch in the Springfield area, but that 1 inch line is very close. You'd be talking in Worcester, approximately a couple inches in Hartford, but that 3 and 4 inches, very close to Worcester and Hartford. 2 to 4 in Portsmouth. 1 to 2 in New York City. This is the minimum, okay? This is gonna happen. Okay, no matter what, this is gonna happen. The GFS is suggesting this. This is the minimum amount. You can bet your line on, you can bet your life on this. This is what I'm expecting. I think this is a good forecast. Okay, at this point. Could it change tomorrow? Absolutely. Absolutely. Could it show less? Could it show more? Absolutely. But right now, Boston 4 to 6. I would say Springfield 2 to 4, closer to the 2. Okay. Worcester is 2 to 4, edge of the 2 to 4, 4 to 6, so about 4 inches. Hartford pretty much the same as Worcester, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, something like that. Closer to 4. Southeastern Connecticut about 4 to 6. Southeastern Mass 6 to 8. Then 4 to 6, close to 6 inches in Providence, 5 or 6 inches, but just to your south 6 to 8. And again, you're going to get mixing issues on the Cape. New York City 2 to 4. 4 to 6 out on Long Island. 1 to 2 in general in New Jersey, perhaps a coating to an inch in Philly. 4 to 6 in Portsmouth. I like 1 to 4 inches down East Maine, closer to the coast. I believe that's Machias. 2 to 4 I like there. Just to the north, though, about 1 to 2 in it. I believe it's in Bangor, about a coating to an inch. Okay. Manchester, I'm liking 2 to 4, and in Keene, I'm liking about 1 to 2. 1 to 2 on the east slopes of the Berkshires, a coating to an inch out in the Berkshires. Poughkeepsie, I'm liking about an inch, 1 to 2 inches, but once you get into the White Plains, I'm liking about 2 to 4. Southwest Connecticut, I'm liking about 2 to 4. This is the max. Okay. At right now. Again, right now I'm sort of disregarding the U-commit. If the U-commit was right, we would be moving this further to the north and west. But right now we're just gonna go with this, and we'll take it from there. Boston 6 to 8. 8 to 10 southeastern Massachusetts. 8 to 10 like Newport area. 6 to 8 Providence. 4 to 6 Hartford. 4 to 6 closer to the 4 in Springfield. But again, you move your way east. Once you work your way into Ludlow, Palmer, and Wilbraham, those areas, especially once you get to Brimfield, gonna be closer to the 5 or 6. Okay? And that goes with even the minimums and what I'm expecting. Worcester 4 to 6. Portsmouth 4 to 6. Nashua 4 to 6. I'm liking 4 to 6 in Manchester. 1 to 2, 2 to 4 in Keene. Eastern slopes of the Berkshires anywhere between 1 to 3 inches. Okay, with the 4 closer to the Springfield area, like Westfield. Berkshires, coating to an inch. Have to say that. The Berkshires, I don't think, is going to get too much out of this. 1 to 2 once you start working your way closer to the eastern slopes. 4 to 6 Long Island, 2 to 4 in New York City, 1 to 2 in most of New Jersey, and coating to an inch out in Philly. Again, I'm not liking over coating to an inch in Philly. And then again, generally 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches out in down East Maine, with Bangor not getting anything over coating to an inch. There you go. That's what I'm expecting. Let's move on into next week. This is you've got your ridge, you've got your trough. Something, all that needs to happen, piece of energy rounding the bend, and there being a phase, and then you get something big coming up the East Coast. Here's the Euro. It's a little more interesting on the Euro. Still a huge ridge out west and a big trough out east. Euro is a little bit more negative with the trough, so it allows for a storm to kind of come close to the East Coast here. But right now, there's going to be a lot of different solutions with this. So I'm just making a huge, this is the threat zone. Basically Maine to Virginia right now. I could see the storm going up through the Appalachians, although it's, as time is moving on, that's getting a little bit of a less possible scenario, but I could still see it happening. And I could see the storm going out to sea. So if we were to make a cone, this would be like the cone, with the central part being somewhere in here to in here. But again, it's still far out. Still far out. Okay? So things will update. 40% confidence with this. Because again, if this goes out to sea, if this goes out to sea, nobody up in here gets any snow. Okay? So you gotta watch it. Right now we're gonna kind of look at this, and we'll update this tomorrow. Perhaps this will update, but right now the biggest updates that would happen would be with the current situation. Okay. Again, I'm new Euro will be important, and new models today will be very important. Okay. So we'll be back later on today. It's early in the morning, but we'll be back, and we'll be updating this before the snow starts falling. Okay, because I anticipate snow to be starting to fall late tonight, about 11, or perhaps in about 24 hours from now. We would start seeing very light snow. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But until then, take care, and enjoy the nice warm weather. I believe the front will be coming through later on this afternoon. So that's the situation, and take care, everybody.